Good evening, and welcome to another episode of True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, and the Stars. I am Benny Scala, the one and only Playa, and with me, as always, is my partner in True Crime. She is a New England Professional Wrestling Hall of Famer. She's Archie's mom, and she is now the Fraulein of Funland Radio. And, of course, I could only be talking about the very bad co-host, the one and only Boston Bad Girl, Brittany Brown. Brittany, how are you?
I am doing very well because it's 70 degrees out. How are you?
Ooh, nice.
Excellent. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's warm down here too. So, and we're also joined by our True Crime Rookie of the Year, Tiffany Starr. You know, Tiffany, I did a close up on you last week's episode, and might have been the camera angle, but I swear I saw some gray hair. Is the pressure of keeping your dad in line starting to wear on you?
I guess so. I'm a little worried about him tonight. We'll see what he has to say.
Yeah,
a gray hair, Benny? How could you?
Well, I mean, you know, it's a hard job, right? I mean, it's very stressful.
I'm too young for that. I'm only 22.
I'm only 25. Look at this.
You have nice hair, though.
Well, thank you. And speaking of the man who just can't behave, here is the self-professed deplorable rug doctor, the owner of Dangerous Dave's Carnival. Dave, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me back. We got a great podcast tonight on another douchebag. I can't wait to get started. Just some people are sick. And we're also going to give an award out to Laurie Vallow-Daybell tonight. Like they used to do on Laughing, the Fickle Finger Fade Award, but tonight she's going to get the Finger Fickle Cucumber Award. We'll present that a little later. And to everyone out there, as I always do, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me.
Amen. All right, guys, let's pay a couple of bills. First thing first, and on to this case. This should be very interesting. This is Benny Scala, the one and only Playa, and welcome to another episode of True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, and the Stars. Folks, we're very excited to be announcing our new sponsor, the Free Spirited Company. Free Spirited is a phenomenal old-school clothing company that specializes in long and short-sleeve T-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, graphic tees, heck, even yoga pants. These T-shirts are, to quote Rocky's manager, Mickey Goldmill, a wake of art. Yours truly will be rocking the Free Spirited merch on each and every episode of True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, and the Stars. Not only are these shirts eye-catching, but they are very comfortable as well. Like what you see? Please go to shopfreespirited.com and use our special code MP20 to receive a 20% discount on all purchases. Again, that is shopfreespirited.com, and the code is MP20. As the poet laureate of the Monte and the Pharaoh YouTube channel, I will leave you with this. If you like what you see, go buy a tea. Heck, maybe even 2 or 3. When your friends tell you, hey, you look like the bomb, send them over to shopfreespirited.com. All righty, and here's the proof. Rocking the merch.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Well, I think we lost Dave, but I think we got him back. There he is.
Dave needs all the help he can get.
Yeah, well,
I know.
Hopefully he sticks around. So I remember once I listened to a Macho Man Randy Savage promo, and he said to Mean Gene, and the beat goes on, and the beat goes on. I feel the same way here. Week in, week out, we cover pieces of shit, one worse than the next. And I keep saying it every week, but this could be the most evil piece of shit we have covered. I'm talking about the Doomsday Murderess, Laurie Vallow-Daybell. On April 22nd, Cowbell was convicted of conspiracy to murder her ex-husband, bringing her body count to 4. She had previously been convicted of murdering her 2 children and her lover's wife. Not his ex-wife, but his current wife. So there's a certain 4-letter word that starts with C that has never, ever come out of my mouth. But if it did, it would be while I was talking about her. And as usual, the Bad Girl and Tiffany will take you through the facts of this really, really disturbing case.
Yeah, this one's a doozy.
A doozy.
Laurie Noreen Ryan Daybell, also referred to as Laurie Vallow-Daybell, was born Lori Noreen Cox on June 26, 1973, in Loma Linda, California. She grew up in a Mormon family. Her parents adhered to sovereign citizen ideology and found themselves at one point in conflict with the IRS. Oh man. In 1992, at the age of 19, Lori married her high school boyfriend, but the marriage ended in divorce shortly afterwards. In 1995, she then married again and had a son named Colby in 1996 before divorcing in 1998. She worked for some time as a hairdresser. In 2004, she was a contestant in the Mrs. Texas beauty pageant, and she was on Wheel of Fortune. Oh, I'd like to see that. I wonder if anyone has that footage. In 2001, she married Joseph Anthony Ryan Jr., who legally adopted Colby. The couple's biological daughter, Tylee, was born in 2002. Lori and Ryan divorced in 2005, subsequently engaging in a bitter custody battle during which she accused him of sexually assaulting their children. Ryan eventually lost equal custody, and Lori's brother, Alex Cox, attacked Ryan in 2007, claiming he had been abusive to Lori and the children. Cox served 90 days in jail for the incident. In 2020, Colby claimed during an interview that as a child, he had been sexually abused by Ryan. In 2018, Ryan was found dead in his apartment from what was determined to be arteriosclerotic cardiovascular disease. After Lori's arrest in 2020, and after a recording surfaced in which she mentioned wanting to kill Ryan, like Nephi killed, police reviewed Ryan's death. Nothing was found to suspect foul play.
Do you believe that, though? I mean, that I know you can't really cause. I don't think you can cause cardiovascular disease with any kind of drugs, but I'm thinking there had to be some kind of drug. Maybe he did have the condition, but I don't believe that he was relatively young when he died. I suspect some foul play. How about you guys?
Yeah,
I do too.
Because of everything else that surrounds this woman.
Literally everyone like dies that knows her. So
right, Black Widow, right?
Yeah.
In February 2006, Lori married Leland Charles Anthony Vallow, who commonly went by the name Charles. Another Charles. In 2013, the couple adopted Charles's grandnephew, Joshua Jackson J.J. Vallow. As the boy's birth parents were unable to care for him. Because of his biological parents' substance abuse, JJ was born with drugs in his system and spent time in the neonatal intensive care unit. As a baby, he was taken care of for nearly a year by his grandparents, Kay and Larry Woodcock, before being adopted by Charles. JJ was eventually diagnosed with autism.
You got a Cox and then you got a Woodcock. I mean, these people are doomed with these names, right? Like,
so
I know, and I was just going to say, thank God Dave is off briefly when I said that.
Dave missed that.
Yep.
This is weird to me though that Charles adopted JJ, but Lori didn't adopt him. So why did she get to keep him?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense either.
I'm very confused about that because there was a time where they were like estranged and like separated from each other, but she kept JJ. And then he like tried to get JJ at one point, and the cops pretty much like wouldn't help him get the kids. Like they were pretty much saying like, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong. So I don't know, like that just seems a little strange to me that she
I thought so too.
keep him. Yeah.
This lady is like, I mean, for all her, evil, she is very, very persuasive. I could see her pretty much getting her way with anything, with anybody. Well, maybe not us, but
I mean, I don't like to swear in front of my daughter, but I gotta say that bitch is crazy. That's all I got to say. That bitch is crazy. She killed everybody. She killed everybody around her.
Yeah,
everybody.
I think that the third or the fourth husband, the third husband, I think she had something to do with that.
All of the husbands.
Yeah.
I wonder if she ever had any pets. I hope she didn't kill her pets. Jesus.
Oof.
They did have a pet cemetery in the backyard. We're going to get to that later. So yeah, I don't know.
Oh, they did. That's true.
Yeah, they did.
Right.
Yeah, a pet cemetery and a human cemetery.
Right.
Yeah, but Chad, I think Chad had that with his wife Tammy. I think they started that, the pet cemetery.
Well, around 2015, Laurie became interested in Chad Daybell's Standing in Holy Places series of books. Over the next few years, she became increasingly invested in radical religious beliefs, reading books about near-death experiences and listening to podcasts by excommunicated Mormons. She had a lot to do with her time, I guess, huh?
Oh, yeah.
In 2018, in October 2018, together with Melanie Gibb and Zulema Pastines, who she had recently befriended, Laurie attended a Preparing a People event where she met Chad for the first time. Gibb and Pastines both said that Laurie behaved in a very flirtatious manner with Chad at the conference. Chad claimed to Laurie that they had been married in multiple previous lifetimes. They started communicating privately afterwards.
So, Dave, she's crazy, plus she's a slut, right?
Well, you know what? I can just imagine, I really don't want to go low because I like to go high, but I can just imagine what that crazy bitch was like in the bedroom to get her away. God knows. You must have all kinds of ointments, massage oils.
Right.
God knows what she had.
I can only imagine.
I hope she didn't have a pet rabbit. That's all.
Oh, God. After their initial meeting, Laurie's husband went on a business trip, giving her the opportunity to hold a small overnight gathering at her home. Chad and Gibb were among the attendees, with Chad captivating Laurie and the group by sharing his Mormon-influenced but unique beliefs. Laurie developed a strong attachment to Chad and his teachings. The two eventually became lovers. And on December 5th, 2018, Chad and Laurie appeared together on the Preparing a People podcast episode, Time to Warrior Up. The two were featured in several other episodes. A religious group formed around Chad and his teachings. He and Laurie told their followers that they belonged to the Church of the Firstborn, of which Chad was the leader. The group included Laurie's niece, Melanie Boudreau, Gibb, Cox, and Pastines, who eventually became Cox's girlfriend and then wife. Gibb and Laurie co-hosted a podcast called Feel the Fire.
So after they got married, Pastines had a whole bunch of shirts printed up, and they said, "I love Cox."
Yeah.
And that's a great time to say hi to my sister, Joy Scala. Hi, Joy. My sister's in the chat.
Hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy.
Yeah.
Hi, Joy.
It's a little X-rated tonight, Joy.
She doesn't mind.
Yeah, sorry, Joy.
R-rated.
Our parents had a very good sense of humor. Put it that way.
So reincarnation, a concept which is not accepted by the LDS Church, played a key part in Chad's religious views. He claimed to have lived 31 previous lives on different planets, and that Laurie had lived 21 separate lives, 5 of which coincided with his own experiences on Earth. Laurie eventually told Gibb that she and Chad were sealed due to their previous marriages in their past lives, despite their respective spouses still being alive. When Gibb suggested that Chad and Laurie should divorce their spouses, Laurie told her they were not allowed to because of information they were receiving from the other side of the veil.
Alrighty.
Chad also claimed to be a reincarnation of James the Less, that Laurie had been James's wife under the name Elena, and then in other past lives, Laurie had been Mary French, the great-grandmother of Joseph Smith, as well as the wife of the prophet Moroni. According to Chad, past lives were multiple probations on Earth. This belief is shared by some Mormon fundamentalist groups who consider that such probations are necessary for one to reach exaltation.
Let's see, yeah. Wasn't Moroni the star of that movie Johnny Dangerously? The guy's name was Moroni, wasn't it? He called everybody a bunch of farting ice holes.
I have no idea.
Did you guys ever see that movie?
I don't think
I did. I've seen that movie.
You summon a botches. Yep, that was Moroni. It's fun. Well, Moroni, with one less eye, and it's moron, and I guess that would fit for these people.
Well, Chad categorized people as light or dark based on his assigning them an affiliation with Jesus Christ or Satan. He and Laurie employed a unique scoring system for good and evil. According to their belief system, dark people were possessed by evil spirits. The group often joined in castings, ceremonies where they could try to cast away evil spirits through prayers and scripture readings. They claim that in some cases, possessed people could become zombies, and that the only way to banish a zombie was to kill the person. 7 women within the group, including Laurie and Zulema Pastines, called themselves the 7 Gatherers and would do castings together, sometimes via Zoom.
Wow. Zoom
These people are sick.
Thank you.
Absolutely sick. They have I feel like how many people with mental health problems can get in one room and meet each other? Every single one of these people have serious issues calling people zombies.
Well, though, I in a way, I kind of like people like this because then I don't question my own sanity because I'm thinking shit, I'm nothing like these people.
Well, I mean, you just hope you get, you go out on the first date with this crazy bitch, and you just hope you come out alive, I guess.
Like Joy always told me when it was, when I got hooked up with a bad woman, just think 3 words: run, Toto, run.
Yeah.
Chad predicted that the world would come to an end on July 22nd, 2020. He told his followers that he was guided by angels and could see hidden truths, while Laurie claimed to have direct communications with God and Jesus. Laurie came to believe that she was an exalted goddess with visionary powers and that she and Chad were destined to lead the 144,000 people who would survive when the world ended. Zulema Pastines later told investigators that Laurie believed that as an exalted being, she couldn't be held responsible for her actions on Earth. That's the problem with people that are churchgoers. Not all of them, but I feel like a lot of people that go to church just think that they can do whatever they want because they'll just be forgiven. And that's just not how it works.
How does the 144,000 work? Do you get a number like in Beetlejuice? Remember that? The guy next to him had number 6 and Beetlejuice 7 billion, and he somehow switched the number. Can you do that?
Yeah. I went out with that crazy bitch, and he asked me, hey, do you believe in end of life for the church or anything? Bitch, I'll believe in anything you want me to if you want to come to my carnival tonight.
That's a scary carnival. I don't know if anyone wants to go.
Just come to my carnival. I want to tell everybody I got my daughter's Navy hat on. She gave to me once she got out of the Navy. I'm wearing it tonight. In
Dangerous Dave's Dark Carnival.
Sure, the Navy is very proud, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Ron Esposito says he thinks I need Jesus. Probably. By February 2019, Lori reportedly informed Charles that she no longer cared about him or JJ. She then vanished for 58 days. The same month, Charles filed for divorce, citing threats to his life, as well as the theft of his truck and $35,000 from their joint bank accounts. According to Charles' filing, Lori had told him that he was possessed by a dark spirit called Ned Schneider. I'm sorry, that part just cracks me up. Like, who is Ned Schneider?
When I saw the name Ned Schneider, you know what I thought of? Like Ned would be like a 27-year-old horse that was in a barn with like flies, buzzing around it. Like, how could somebody named Ned be evil?
That's like the strangest name. Like,
hey, I was on a third date with this girl. She wanted to change my name. As long as I was getting lucky, she'd have called me whatever she wanted. I could care less.
She would have called you dead. That's what she would have called you.
Yeah. Number 4,872.
Sorry, that name just like throws me off.
That track, are they serious? Ned Schneider? Like,
where was I? Called Ned Schneider that she was a god assigned to carry out the work of the 144,000 at Christ's second coming, which would happen in July 2020, and she would murder him if he got in the way of her mission.
I do want to say one thing though. I listened to Nancy Grace, and man, did she tear Lori a new a-hole. But she mentioned that Charles went to JJ's school and was, and lodged a complaint that she thought that, or he thought that JJ was in danger, and the school did nothing, which is kind of odd.
Isn't that awful?
You think they?
I feel bad. I feel bad for those two kids. I mean, I kid a lot, but when they dug that kid up, when they dug the son up, he still had his pajamas on, and he was in plastic bags, and from his head to the bottom of his toes, he was covered in duct tape.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad, go ahead.
I don't know how you sleep with yourself. Then they dug the girl up, and she was cut up into pieces, I believe, and burnt.
Oh.
Yeah, she was dismembered, disfigured, burnt, you name it.
Like, how do you put your head on your pillow at night and go to sleep with yourself? I don't know how you do it. And then they took off to Hawaii on vacation after they did that.
I think they got married after that. They went to Hawaii and got married.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you know what? This is all she's going to have from now on. We used to have the fickle finger fade award. Well, Laurie's going to get the fickle finger cucumber award because that's all she's going to get the rest of her life. And nice big cucumber. And she can use it as she pleases.
So
I think
that's not fair to cucumbers.
I think the problem here though is that Charles saw that there was an issue because obviously like he knew Lori prior to all of these like weird things that she started believing in. But if you really look at it like from the police point of view, like nothing has actually happened that shouldn't have happened at this point, really. Like that's technically illegal. So I feel like at this point there really was nothing that they could do because there was nothing solid against her.
Right.
Which is unfortunate that because Charles obviously like knew that something was wrong because she's saying all this weird stuff, but if someone had just listened to him, but unfortunately.
Well, she was up for his life insurance policy once she met the other crazy fucker, her husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Charles sought a protective order against Lori at the advice of his attorney. He withdrew the petition 1 month later, saying he wanted to try to make the marriage work. Nevertheless, Charles had become so worried by Lori's actions that in February 2019, he changed his $1 million life insurance policy to the beneficiary would be his sister Kay rather than his wife. Lori was unaware of this until after Charles' death. That's like, haha, bitch. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's not funny, obviously, because the man was murdered, but like,
Right.
it's kind of like his last, like, fuck you, like, to her.
Poetic justice that she didn't get that money. Yep.
Having discovered his wife's affair with Chad Daybell, Charles Vallow confronted Lori about it. 11 days before his death, he sent an email to Tammy Daybell to inform her that their spouses were cheating. Evidence later showed that Tammy had opened and deleted the message and blocked Charles' email address. On July 1st, 2019, Charles told Lori that he planned to meet Tammy in person. At that point, Lori and Chad were communicating constantly with burner phones. On July 11th, 2019, Charles went to pick up JJ at Lori's home in Chandler, Arizona, early in the morning. Alex Cox was present. An altercation occurred and Cox shot and killed Charles, later claiming self-defense. Cox alleged that he had retrieved his gun after Charles struck him on the head with a bat. Tylee told the police that she had witnessed part of the incident, but had run away from the house with JJ before the shooting. Lori did not call 911. It was later determined that Alex Cox had called 911 about 45 minutes after Charles was killed. Moments after the shooting, Lori took JJ to school, stopping at Burger King, then at Walgreens to buy flip-flops. So this part here is where now stuff is starting to get weird. Like, at this point, I don't understand how the cops don't see that there's an issue, that your husband was shot and you still took your child and just left, didn't call the cops, nothing. You just took your child, got in the car, and like went about your day.
Well, and then you had to get a Whopper after that, of course.
Yeah.
And she was joking. There's like video of her, I think, at Walgreens going through the drive-thru. I don't know if she was picking up something, or maybe it was at Burger King, but she was like joking around, like laughing. So it's like, to me, that is an indication that something is wrong here. Like, that doesn't match with, like, if your husband was just killed, whether you are with him and love him or not, like, you didn't call the cops. So now this is like really strange to me.
Yeah.
No charges were pressed. A police detective later testified that Lori's behavior that day had been oddly nonchalant and that she seemed unaffected by what had happened. Neighbors reported later that day they heard a pool party with loud music at Lori's home. Zulema Pasteen said that Cox had told her he did not feel bad because he had killed a zombie. Investigations later showed that 2 days before the shooting, Lori had sent her brother a text message which told him to be like Neffy. Police interpreted the message as a command to kill a wicked man. Lori texted Charles' sons from a previous marriage that their father had passed away, then left them without any further information for 3 days. Charles' sons had to find on their own the mortuary where their father's body was. They were left to organize a memorial service which Lori did not attend. Before Charles' death, his attorney stated he had been primarily concerned for JJ's safety and well-being, as the boy needed a consistent routine due to his special needs. Charles was also concerned for Tylee, but he was unable to include her in the filings as she was not his biological daughter, nor had he filed to legally adopt her, and thus he had no legal standing. I just don't understand how he didn't have the legal standing with JJ, though. Like, that still is like,
I could see Tylee, but why JJ?
I still don't understand that.
Yeah.
Days after Charles' death, Chad sent Lori a love story in the form of a series of text messages. The story, which investigators called a romance novel, told the meeting of James and Elena, the names Chad substituted for himself and Lori, and gave a detailed description of their sexual relationship.
No thanks.
Sexual relationship, not even with her, but him. He is like disgusting.
I know.
By the end of August, Lori relocated to Rexburg, Idaho with her children. Alex Cox was also moved there. Just before moving to Idaho, Lori sold JJ's service dog. A poor dog. While Lori and her children resided in Rexburg, neighbors noticed JJ's erratic behavior as Lori often left him outside without adult supervision for long periods of time. When confronted about this, Lori did not mention that JJ was autistic, but told neighbors that he was her niece's drug baby. Tylee was last seen on September 8th, 2019 at Yellowstone National Park with her brother JJ, her mother Lori, and her uncle Alex Cox. She was never enrolled at any school in Idaho, even though her mother claimed that she was attending BYU, Idaho. On September 17, 2019, a doorbell video captured JJ playing with a friend, the last known footage of him. He last attended Rexburg's Kennedy Elementary School on September 20th. On September 22nd, Melanie Gibb and her boyfriend David Warwick were staying at Lori's home. Around 10:30 p.m., Warwick saw Alex Cox take JJ, who was sleeping, upstairs to his bedroom. This was JJ's last confirmed sighting. On the next morning, JJ was absent. Lori told Gibb and Warwick that JJ had been misbehaving, so his uncle Alex had picked him up. On September 23rd, JJ had an unexcused absence from school. The next day, Lori informed Rexburg Elementary School that she would now be homeschooling JJ. In the months that followed her children's disappearances, Lori kept collecting the Social Security survivor benefits that each received after the death of their respective father.
Jeez.
So I guess they're saying that on September 22nd, when Melanie Gibb and her boyfriend saw JJ, they're saying that he was actually like not alive. He wasn't sleeping, like he was actually dead.
Oh,
interesting. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, which makes sense because then he wasn't seen after that.
Right.
Like not even the next morning. So that was like the theory, was that he wasn't actually alive. In October 2019, 2 Venmo payments were made from Tylee's account to her older half-brother, Colby Ryan, with love expressing messages attached, which was the last time Colby had heard from Tylee. When he expressed concern towards Tylee via text, he received responses from her cell phone indicating she was safe but too busy to talk. After repeated calls to Tylee went unanswered, Colby became more worried. Brandon and Melanie Gibb later said that Lori and Chad were convinced Tylee and JJ were possessed and had become zombies. Zulema Pastines testified that Chad had told his followers that JJ would die soon, only to come back as Colby's son. The FBI uncovered text messages in which Lori and Chad discussed Tylee and JJ's possession and mentioned a perfectly orchestrated plan to take the children. A text exchange between Lori and Alex Cox mentioned working on Z's, referring to zombies. My head hurts from all of the craziness that is like going on. Like, what is happening? On February 2019, Chad told his neighbors, Todd and Alice Gilbert, that he had a vision that Tammy would pass away before her 50th birthday. On October 9th.
Something like that. That's ridiculous. I mean, that right there is a red flag.
I know.
Yeah, these people are just crazy. On October 9, 2019, Tammy reported being shot in her driveway by a masked man with that she thought was a paintball gun. The man pulled the trigger several times, but the gun was apparently unloaded. Police believe that this to be a prank and could not identify the man. 10 days later, Tammy was found dead in her home, apparently from natural causes. Chad claimed that she had retired the previous night with a terrible cough and died in her sleep. He said that Tammy had been experiencing low blood pressure, seizures, and negative reactions with homeopathic medicines, though nothing in her medical record supported this.
She died naturally. Naturally, you're going to die if somebody chokes you out, right?
Yeah. Natural is right.
They can poison people. They can use certain poisons. I was watching Court TV on this because according to Court TV, I'm a courtie. If you're a Court TV junkie, you call it courtie. But according to them, you can use certain stuff that's not detected over a period of time to kill somebody. And even though you go do an autopsy, if they're not looking for that specific ingredient that killed them, right, they won't find it because they're not looking for it.
Right.
So unless they're specifically told to look for this, they're not going to find it.
Right. And I think that's what happened.
Yep. Just like the brother, he died, Alex. Like he died,
Yep.
what, a couple days before he's supposed to the trial or something?
Yep.
Yeah, that was quite shady. Same thing.
Very, very.
Mm-hmm.
So Tammy's funeral was organized in Utah 3 days after her death. Alice Gilbert later said she had been surprised that the funeral came so soon and felt like it had been planned. The Gilberts also testified that, unlike his children, Chad did not seem devastated and had acted in a businesslike manner. Chad's sister-in-law, Heather Daybell, said that Chad's behavior at Tammy's funeral did not ring true and that he just didn't seem upset. Jason Gewillem said that he felt Chad was not crying, but trying to cry. During the service, Chad mentioned in his talk that Tammy suffered from depression, commented that she was not very easy to live with, and called her lazy. Isn't that nice?
What
What
an
a
asshole!
guy.
You call your poor dead wife. You call her lazy at her funeral.
At her funeral. That's awesome. What a guy. What a guy. Yep. According to police reports, Chad Daybell received life insurance payouts after Tammy's death, totaling $430,000.
Wow.
Surprisingly, Tammy's body was not autopsied initially due to Chad's refusal and the coroner's acceptance of his decision. However, after Tammy's body was exhumed and autopsied, it was determined that she had been asphyxiated by someone else. The autopsy results, completed by February 2021, were not publicly revealed until April 2023 during Lori Vallow-Daybell's trial. Investigators later uncovered text messages between Chad and Lori claiming that Tammy was in limbo and possessed by a spirit named Viola. At some point, Chad and Lori told their followers that Tammy had become a zombie. Alex Cox's phone was located near the Daybell's residence on October 9th, 4 hours before Tammy was shot at. It pinged again in the same area 10 days later on the night that Tammy died. Police found at Cox's home an AR-15 that resembled the description Tammy had made of the supposed paintball gun. Cox had made several internet searches about the use of an AR-15 and on how a Grendel round would impact a Dodge Dakota, which was the car the Daybells owned. Prosecutors later said the paintball gun spotted by Tammy on October 9th was, in fact, a real gun that may have jammed or misfired, and that the shooter was probably Alex Cox. Oh, the brain surgeons. Zulema Pastines testified that she had been with Lori and her niece Melanie due to a casting on the night Tammy was attacked in her driveway. At some point during that night, Lori talked with someone on the phone and became very angry, calling the other person idiot, moron, and stupid after hanging up. She commented, "Idiot can't do anything by himself."
Geez, can't
Chad
even
and
murder
Lori
somebody. What a moron.
Chad and Lori were married in Hawaii on November 5th, 2019, 2 weeks after the death, not yet known by others to be a killing, of Tammy, and 2 months after Tylee and JJ were murdered, a fact also not yet known by others, who did not even know that the children were missing. Apart from his children, Chad did not inform his family beforehand. Chad's mother discovered that he and Lori were married upon meeting Lori. Lori and Chad returned to Hawaii, where they resided in a gated community in Princeville on the island of Kauai, living off of the money Chad had received from Tammy's life insurance. While searching for a home in Hawaii, Chad had written in an application that the couple had no children. On December 6, 2019, Melanie Gibb contacted the police, revealing that both Lori and Chad had called her separately on November 26th and had asked her to tell police that JJ was with her. Police efforts to locate JJ led to the discovery that Tylee was also missing. A connection was made between the investigations in Idaho and those in Arizona. Law enforcement agencies intensified their inquiries about the children's whereabouts, as well as Chad and Lori's departure from Idaho. It was also decided to further investigate Tammy's death. Her body was exhumed for an autopsy on December 11th. On January 5th, 2020, after Lori and Chad were located in Kauai, law enforcement agents served them with a court order requiring Lori to physically produce within 5 days Tylee and JJ to the Ohio Department of Welfare or to the Rexburg Police Department. The next day, police seized the couple's rental car and searched their rental townhome in Princeville, where they found Tylee's debit card and JJ's iPad. Also on January 26th, the Daybells were confronted over the children's disappearance by East Idaho news reporter Nate Eaton. They refused to answer any questions.
They should have made them produce Ned Schneider as well. Don't you think, Tiffany?
Yeah, I think so. Ned should have been there. He should have produced the children.
Where's Nedley?
In February 2020, authorities focused on a storage locker in Rexburg that had been rented by Lori in October 2019. They discovered belongings linked to Tylee and JJ, including clothing, bikes, and photographs. These items had been left behind when Lori abruptly left Rexburg in late November 2019. Video footage captured Lori and Alex Cox moving items to and from the locker before her departure. On November 24th, 2019, Chad Daybell gave Alex Cox a patriarchal blessing, which he had no standing to give in the LDS church, saying that Alex had assisted him and Lori in ways that can never be repaid.
Yeah, he fucking killed people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't pay.
Yeah, but what happened to him? What happened to him?
Who?
Did he get killed? I mean, he just died like he felt ill one day and then he was dead the next day. Alex.
Well, they said that it was like something in his brain. I don't know if it was like an aneurysm.
Well, it's the next. He died of the next bullet. He died of blood clots and high blood pressure.
Yeah, that's.
But it was within. It was 18 days after he got that blessing. I guess it was really more the kiss to death, right?
That's how they repaid him.
Yeah.
The blessing
how
of
we
death.
repay you? I will just kill you.
Chad called Alex a prophet and a hero and predicted he would have a future as a messenger of the Lord very quickly.
Yeah, right. In a couple of weeks.
The recording of this blessing was later found by an investigators on Lori's iCloud account. Because Alex Cox died on December 12th, 2019, his death, as Betty just said, was attributed allegedly to blood clots and high blood pressure.
Does anybody know how old he was? I'm thinking he had to be like, what, in his mid-40s, maybe, not even?
Yeah, I would say definitely under 50.
Yeah, I mean, the odds of somebody dying at that, I mean, it does happen, but it's highly unusual.
Well, I can see where his blood pressure was high. I can definitely get it.
Yeah, you whack 4 people. Of course, you're going to be a little bit nervous, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
So the day before his death, Cox had been informed by Lori and Chad that Tammy Daybell's body was going to be exhumed. There you have it. Zulema Pastine later testified that Cox had told her he was worried about being Lori and Chad's fall guy. Yeah,
well, he fell all right.
Yeah,
and he
sure did.
And he didn't get up.
He fell victim.
Right.
That's why they killed him, because obviously he was a loose end and they were going to find out what really happened.
He knew too much. Right.
Yeah.
Collateral damage.
Yep.
Yep.
On February 20th, 2020, Lori was arrested in Hawaii by the Kauai Police Department. On March 5th, she was extradited back to Idaho. On June 9th, police found human remains buried in unmarked graves in the backyard of Chad's home during a search of the premises. Tylee's remains were located in the area that the Daybell family called the Pet Cemetery, as it had been used to bury their cats and dogs. JJ's remains were located in a separate area of the property near a pond. As the property was being searched, Chad phoned Lori in jail to warn her about the situation. After police found and began to unearth the bodies, he tried to drive off from the scene, but was chased down and apprehended. He was arrested for obstruction or concealment of evidence. The next day, his bail was set at $1 million.
I have a question. Like, given all that, why would there even be an amount for bail? Why would that even be on the table?
I know.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me that if somebody is there for, like, well, I guess they don't have him for murder yet. I don't know. The whole thing is just.
But some of our judges are fucked up. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On June 10th, the Woodcock and Ryan families confirmed that the human remains found on Chad's property were those of Tylee and JJ. This finding was officially confirmed by Rexburg police 3 days later. Tylee's body was burned, her hands had been cut off,
Jeez.
and her bones were fractured in several places, from which forensic examiners deduced that someone had attempted to dismember her. JJ's body was wrapped in plastic. Unlike Tylee, he had been buried with great care under rocks and wooden planks. That's so sad. Like,
It's beyond sad.
she was young. She was only like 16, I think, or 17.
Yeah.
It was determined that JJ had been asphyxiated with a plastic bag and duct tape over his mouth. Due to the state of her remains, Tylee's cause of death could not be determined and was ruled a homicide by unspecified means. Tylee's DNA was found on a pickaxe and a shovel seized at Chad's home. Alex Cox's fingerprints and Lori's hair were found on the plastic and duct tape on JJ's remains. Lori's trial began on April 3rd, 2023 in Boise, Idaho. She did not testify in her own defense. Her lawyers did not call any witnesses, while the prosecution called about 60 people to testify. Melanie Gibb, Audrey Baratiro, another former friend of Lori who had also participated in her religious group, and Ian Pawlowski, the husband of Lori's niece, Melanie, testified about Lori's beliefs and her claims that she had cast out Satan and other evil spirits. Baratiro said that when she grew uncomfortable about Lori's beliefs and decided to dissolve their friendship, Lori threatened to murder her and dispose of her body in trash bags. I wish she would threaten me.
Crazy bitch.
Literally, like, it's like if she doesn't get her way, she just acts like a total nutcase. Like a nutcase bitch.
I just watched that case where she represented herself in court, and I'll tell you what, the exchange between her, I saw it live, the exchange between her and her sister-in-law, Woodcock's there. What a beautiful exchange that was, I'll tell you. Which would be her husband's sister, the dead husband's sister. I'll tell you that was great. The sister-in-law really told her off.
Oh, good.
Good.
And personally, if I was in court, I wouldn't answer. I would have told the judge, I ain't answering no questions this killer bitch is asking me. Ain't no way. I couldn't stand her the way she. Absolutely, I'm not answering to no murderer. Absolutely not. And she thought she was this big hotshot bitch in court, talking nice and soft. Wants sympathy.
She is. I'm telling you, she's a master manipulator.
Yep.
It didn't work though, because she was.
No, it didn't. No.
She was sentenced for that. So. In the light of the evidence that pointed to Alex Cox's direct involvement in the murders, prosecutors stated that Lori Vallow-Daybell had groomed and manipulated her brother to participate in her crimes. Lori's sister, Summer Shiflett, testified that Alex had suffered brain damage in a car accident and that his decision-making was stuck at a teenage level. Zulema Pastine said that Alex was entirely under the influence of Chad and Lori, who had convinced him that he was a reincarnated warrior of God and that the only reason he had come to Earth was to protect Lori. In his closing argument, Lori's attorney, Jim Archibald, depicted her as being under Chad Daybell's psychological control.
I got a question. I mean, you talk about being able to sleep at night. How could anybody who defended this woman be able to sleep at night?
I know.
I mean, do you really believe she didn't do it?
Right.
I mean, I guess they have to. I mean, it's there, especially if he's a public defender. But I mean, they're making money. But like the Watts.
You know
I watched
what?
the
If
Watts.
it came to that, I'd start driving a truck because I have to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Like I watched the Watt case too, where he threw his kids in the oil tank over the weekend, and he had a lawyer. I was like, how can you represent this man? How can you even want to represent him? I'd rather give up the money. So I'm not interested in representing him.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, you got to have a line as a lawyer, as a defense lawyer. Don't you got to have a line where you get some morals and values to yourself, and you're going to defend somebody who threw his 2 kids in an oil tank and his pregnant wife across the way in a shallow grave?
I mean, do you think that Jose Baez really believed that Casey Anthony did not kill Kaylee? I mean, do you really think he believed that?
I don't see how.
Right.
I think that so what happens is that, I'm not like defending it, but I think what happens is they already know that the person is guilty. Like in this case, especially, like they know that Lori is guilty, but they are just representing like what's her sentence going to be. Like we already know she's guilty, and there's really we're not trying to disprove it, but
they want to just keep her out of the gas chamber, right? Or
yeah, it's kind of just like she has to be represented just
right.
Because it's just the law.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's entitled to due process. So
yeah, so I think, but I don't think that they were trying to argue.
I just couldn't do it. Like I would feel. I mean, on the odd chance that I got her off, not that way. I mean, as far as like her being not guilty in court, I would feel horrible.
Yeah.
You never know with that beautiful hair you got there, Playa.
On May 12, 2023, Lori was found guilty of all criminal charges. On July 31st, 2023, she received 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole for respectively the murder of Tylee, the murder of JJ, and the conspiracy to commit murder charge of Tammy, in addition to fines and restitution for the grand theft charges. In November 2023, Lori was extradited to Arizona to face her 2 conspiracy charges there. She pleaded not guilty to both. In February 2024, her trial was scheduled to begin on August 1st of the same year, though the judge mentioned that it might be moved at a later date due to the amount of evidence to process. In June, Lori's defense team in Arizona filed a motion requesting a delay for the trial. Lori objected and continued to assert her right to a speedy trial. On July 2nd, the lawyer's request was granted and the trial date was moved to February 24th, 2025. Also, in October 2024, Lori's attorneys made a request for a competency hearing. 1 week later, she requested to waive her right to counsel and act as her own attorney. At a December 5th, 2024 hearing, Lori was deemed by a doctor to be mentally fit and competent to stand trial. The judge also granted Lori's request to represent herself. Lori said at the hearing that she had real trial experience and had been studying case law since her incarceration. This lady's just like so crazy.
You got a book, Murder Trials for Dummies, I guess, right?
On April 7th, during her opening statement, Lori maintained that Alex had shot Charles in self-defense and announced that she would provide proof of this. She used the phrase, "the evidence will show," over 70 times during her statement. The prosecution said that Lori had conspired to murder Charles so she could access his life insurance policy and marry Chad. That Cox had staged the home to make it look like Charles had attacked him and that there was no evidence Cox had been hit with a baseball bat like he claimed. Lori ultimately did not call any witnesses or present evidence, nor did she testify in her own defense. She made a verbal motion for a Rule 20 judgment of acquittal, arguing that no evidence had been presented that would allow a jury to find her guilty. The judge denied her motion. In her closing argument, Lori reiterated that Charles had been killed in self-defense and told the jurors, "Don't let them turn my family tragedy into a crime." Prosecutor Trina Kay called Charles' death a very planned out, premeditated murder. On April 22nd, 2025, Lori was convicted of conspiring to murder Charles. After the verdict, she agreed to several aggravating factors. One of the jurors told the reporters that Lori hadn't done herself any favors by choosing to represent herself in court. Many days she was just smiling and laughing and didn't seem to take anything very seriously. When asked by reporters if she had a message for Lori, Charles' sister Kay Woodcock said, "We gotcha, and you're not the smartest person in the room. Everybody's going to forget about you."
There she is, wearing her favorite.
Oh boy. Oh boy. That's rough looking. Oh boy. Hate to wake up in bed and look at that in the morning. Jesus.
So now none of these, I guess neither Idaho nor Arizona has the death penalty, I'm assuming.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
I mean, how does she get to breathe, the air that we breathe?
I don't get it. She should have got the gas chamber.
I don't know. All I knew is when I was watching the trial, I just couldn't stand her. Kept saying that the evidence will show, and then don't turn this family tragedy into a murder. I just wanted to. If I was I couldn't stand her. Couldn't stand her. Listening to her.
Oh, I was saying before the show that I started listening to Keith Morrison's jailhouse interview with her, and I didn't get to finish it, but I'm thinking like this lady is like Looney Tunes. She really is. I mean, everything's a joke to her.
I know.
Well, according to witnesses, she was normal, and according to her late husband, she was normal up till the day she met that crazy Chad Daybell. That's what everybody said.
Before that, she burnt through husbands. Although, I still say that now. When she met Chad, was husband number 3 alive? That would have been Ryan, right? His last name was Tylee.
I don't know.
Oh, I know.
Because I really believe. I think I mean, obviously she's never going to get out of jail, but I really think that they should reopen Joseph Ryan and Alex Cox, and see if they really died of natural causes. They were both relatively young guys, and they looked pretty healthy. It wasn't like you were going to find them on My 600-Pound Life hanging out in Dr. Nozarden's office. I mean, they were healthy-looking guys.
Right.
Don't ever say she won't get out of jail in this crazy, fucked up country we live in, because now everything's called, I want to be resentenced. What you're doing to me is inhumane. I want to be resentenced like the Menendez brothers and everybody else,
Honestly, maybe this is a horrible thing to say, but if they rolled out the guillotine and they had like a national, like they showed it like on a pay-per-view and they beheaded this wench, that might deter somebody. I don't, maybe not, but that's what you deserve.
I don't know how you can sit in the sun in Hawaii when you know your 2 children are buried in the back of your husband's
and you're responsible for it.
I know.
I don't know how anyone found her competent and that she didn't have any mental health issues, because there's no way that lady is sane. There's no way that there is
any normal person do what you did to her. Yeah, your own flesh and blood. Come on.
Yeah, that's why today when I go,
if she is.
When I go out with a girl today, I do background checks now. I don't know what they're like.
Well, that's what Tiffany does, right? Isn't that she's in charge of that?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here to keep Dangerous Dave safe from all of the crazy ladies. That's my job.
I mean, I don't mind felonies as long as they're, burglary or something like that. But anything about killing husbands.
Like no domestic violence, but a couple of like carjackings. That's all right, right?
Yeah. Hey, as long as no one gets hurt,
You need a ride. You need a ride, right? Maybe late for work, whatever. I mean,
we'll go on a date. As long as you don't steal my car, we'll be all right.
Right. No food poisoning that night. You're good. Pass first test.
Yeah. As long as you don't have any.
On Tiffany's head.
What?
We want to zoom in on your head and count the gray hairs.
Oh, get out of here. I don't have any gray hair.
I don't know how to do that. If I could figure out, we'll zoom in on Tiffany. But
Where did Cash go?
well, you know what though, Brittany? About
Lay
a
down
month.
here.
In a month, she won't be able to hide them.
I have no gray hair, but I am going to the hair salon on Friday. So if I have any, it'll be
you ask them how many you have, and
okay.
Report back next Monday.
Okay.
Right.
We want to know what he's caused you.
Hey,
Well, a lifetime of trauma.
But you turned
Oh,
out relatively normal though. That's kind of
Yeah, I'm pretty normal. I mean, not like out there murdering people and,
Considering, right?
doing weird stuff. So
Brittany. She's like Marilyn Munster, right? Like
yeah.
Like she's the normal one. She's the one that like opens the front door. Oh, this can't be that bad. And then then Grandpa and Herman show up.
I can attest to my exes should have been on the Munsters. No.
Did she look like Lily Munster? Or?
Yeah, she's Lily Munster.
Wow.
Bacala.
Yeah.
You say bacala? Like the Italian, my mom used to make that on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Oh.
Boiled codfish.
Yeah.
Ew.
sounds really appetizing.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, I mean, everybody ate it. I mean, I wouldn't eat it, but I wouldn't dare eat it.
I'm more into baklava, the Greek pastry.
There
we had like the bacala, and then my mom would make squingili, which was really that I did like. But she'd make like an octopus salad. There's every Christmas
yeah.
Eve. Yeah.
The 7 fishes.
Yes. Yeah. Meatless Christmas Eve.
What's wrong with the 7 pizzas?
Yeah. All right, guys.
Cheese, extra cheese, extra sauce, pepperoni.
I was
It was. I mean, it was a very cool night because, like, it was heavy duty. Like, our Christmas was more Christmas Eve, and I would say like we probably had like from like 6 at night till about 2 in the morning. I would say about 100 people like were not at the same time, but would like come through our house.
Like in and out, yeah.
Yeah, including Santa Claus, and he would come for a drink and give us a little gift, and then yeah.
I loved Christmas up till I was 20. I don't remember too many after that till about 45.
You have a 25-year blackout with Christmases?
Are you okay?
Yeah. Those are my partying days at vodka and weed and beer and I mean I remember, but
Any like floozies included in that, Dave?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have some floozies. Yeah, when you have all that stuff, you gotta have a floozy or two, right?
Oh yeah, I dress up as Santa Claus, tell them to come sit on my lap. If they smell like fish, I just tell them go away. You'll get something. Don't sit on my lap. But keep going.
You'll get something, all right.
This is why I have gray hair.
My parents used to call him Abutan. I don't know if my sister's still in the chat room.
She is.
She is, yes. Oh, she said the most awesome night of the year. It really, really was. I mean, I absolutely loved Christmas Eve. My mom would cook literally for weeks, and make. She made everything from scratch. Lasagna, like the meatless lasagna, ziti, a lot of seafood though, and I mean, so much booze. I mean, there was like more alcohol in that house than you'd find at Applebee's, and everybody came in for Christmas cheer and. Family, friends, relatives, they came from all over.
Well, thank God there were no Daybells included, because you would have been corrupted early.
Yeah. Oh, and then my sister said drunk Christmas caroling at 3 a.m. Absolutely, that was part of it too.
My sister says, "Dad, you're fired." She's firing you. That's
Dad, you're fired.
Hey, I know Christmas now, and I know Christmas.
She can't.
I'm alert on Christmas.
Did you fire him as your father, or how? Like, what's that all about?
I think he's fired from the podcast.
We can't do that. Only we can do that. You know.
Yeah.
No, we're keeping him.
Hey.
He's too valuable.
Yeah, he's a keeper.
Hey,
Yeah, I mean, what's a few gray hairs? He's worth it.
you know why Italians don't have no necks? You stand in front of the judge and say, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing, Your Honor. That's why Italians have no necks. I don't know nothing.
It's like my cousin Johnny 5-0, 5 arrests, no convictions.
5-0. I love it.
Yep. All right, guys, it's time to watch wrestling. So every week I tell you that it doesn't get much worse than the case we're covering, but somehow we seem to top it every single week. You know, the reality is we could literally do this podcast for 100 years and not run out of cases. So if you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe to the Monte and Pharaoh YouTube channel so you won't miss any episodes. And don't forget to join yours truly and Dan Sebastiano tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for Dan and Benny in the Ring. And then on Wednesday night, very special, When It Was Real, Nikita and I will be talking about the Bruno Sammartino Superstar Billy Graham match. That will be the 48th anniversary. It's hard to believe, right?
Wow.
April 30th,
From in Baltimore?
In Baltimore,
he won the belt?
joining us, and I believe he was there joining us, will be legendary wrestling photographer George Napolitano. Very special episode. Yes.
That's Wednesday night?
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. And do not forget to check out The Bad Girl every Saturday from 1 to 5 Eastern Time on Funland Radio. She's spinning the oldies as only she can. But you can also find me on Want Radio every Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock for the Playa playing the platters. I've included both links for both in the description. So for the Bad Girl, Brittany Brown, the Rookie of the Year, Tiffany Starr with gray hair, and horrible, dangerous Dave. This is the One and Only Playa telling everyone to stay safe, and we will see you next crime. Bye.
Bye, Mrs. P.
Bye, Mrs.
Bye,
P.
Mrs. P.
Bye, everyone.